We'll start early because we're rule breakers like that. Woo! Thanks for coming, everybody. This is the Nintendo Champions panel. We're doing a little retrospective of the various Nintendo championships throughout the years. Our panel today is, I'm Chris Bidwell, I'm the old guy, kind of. I was a semi-finalist in 1990, back when the first NWC, and then in 2015 I came back as the old man and made it to the finals. Next to me is Mr. Tim Hanson. He was the finalist out of Minnesota in 2015. We'll skip a person in there at the very end. That's Jeff. He won the Chicago Regional in 2017 with his performance in Mario Kart. And then the two gentlemen in the middle, we have the 1991 national champion with the belt right there, Mr. Steve Lucas. And then in the middle, we have Zach Hendrix, the 2010 national champion. Hi. Flashing peace signs. So in 1990, Nintendo was kind of on top of the world and could do anything they wanted. There wasn't really any other game company that was relevant at that point. So they could do a commercial with Mario 3 and not even show any gameplay footage. They could just have a picture of Mario on the face of the earth, and people would buy millions of copies of it. And in the previous year, they had the movie called The Wizard, which they did this crazy video game tournament that was make-believe called Video Armageddon. And you know, if people watch the movie, it's like, man, what if they had a real Video Armageddon? So in 1990, they had a real Video Armageddon, and they called it the Nintendo World Championships. And it was a combination of 3 games, Super Mario Brothers, Rad Racer, and Tetris. And it ended up being basically a giant Tetris tournament, and it was won by this man, Mr. Thor Ackerlund. There were 3 H divisions. Thor was, I think, 14 or 15 at the time, and he blew away everybody in all the other divisions, even though there was a sub-12 and an over-18 division. Over the years, people kind of forgot about Thor, but what kept the memory of that tournament alive was those 2 cartridges on the right, the NWC cartridges. The Nintendo collectors kept up the memory of that event because these cartridges would go for tens of thousands of dollars. And every time somebody sold one for that much money, it'd make the news, and people like, oh yeah, I remember that tournament. And then 25 years later, they brought it back. Although, there were other tournaments in other years where the cartridges weren't given out. And in 1991, we had Mr. Steve Lucas here, who won the 1991 National Championship. And that year, they went with like a college tour. And here's a little clip of his win here.
Jacksonville, Illinois can now brag they have a national champion as a resident. Stephen Lucas is a 1991 Nintendo champion.
Steve Lucas is a sophomore at Southern Illinois University. He competed against more than 2 million other college students from across the nation to win the 1991 National Nintendo Championship. Lucas had a winning score of 2,394,130 points. To win, he played a 6-minute cartridge with 3 different games on it: Super Mario 3, Pinbot, and Dr. Mario. Lucas won a $2,500 scholarship and a new sports car. And Lucas says he hopes to make Nintendo his career.
I like to be a Nintendo game counselor and get a job with Nintendo, so it will help.
Couldn't hurt.
Lucas beat the runner-up by more than 1 million points. The 1991 Nintendo Campus Challenge National Championship was held in Orlando, Florida. Lucas has one word of advice for aspiring Nintendo stars.
You kind of see that there he is at a young age. How old were you at the time?
All right, I'll turn this on.
I was at 21 years old, or no, I was 20, so I was not old enough to drink. Truth be told, I was not the highest scorer on this tournament. That honor goes to a few other people who, I guess they would manage to score a high of like 6 million points. Back then, of course, the current world record is now over 18 million. Held by a gentleman out in the state of Washington by the name of Paul Tessie. I don't believe he entered the tournament 25 years ago, or 26. 27 years now, I guess. But
So-
the tournament was New Year's weekend of '92.
So you kind of broke the rules. You kind of, let's say, Will Chamberlain did. Because the idea was that you would get to Dr. Mario as fast as you can, and then whoever got the high Dr. Mario score will blow everybody away. But you had a different technique, which you won with. You want to explain that?
A lot of people, no, it wasn't just me, several people had an easier time scoring points on Super Mario 3, taking advantage of 10-point or a 10 multiplier. Dr. Mario had 100. So I was better playing in Super Mario 3 than was Dr. Mario. Dr. Mario, you basically had to memorize the order of the pills coming out and where to put them on the board to get the maximum amount of points. Obviously, I couldn't do that. I know other people filmed it with video cameras so they could study the tape and plan it out, but yeah, I had to.
But you won. You're.
I did. I did not have the highest score, but I had to do the best I could at the right time. I had the first round in Florida. The top 12 moved on. I got 3rd place. The next group, which was the top 12, there was 55 colleges, so everybody played. And the top 12 moved on to round 2. I was 3rd place in round 2. Then to round 3, there's just 6 players left. The top 2 moved on. I got the highest score. In fact, my personal high back then, 2.6 million points in round 3 to move on to the final round. The people that were like getting 1st place in previous rounds messed up in round 3 and didn't get to play in the final round.
So when it counted, which is what I like in general, which live competition where you don't get to hit the reset button and try again, hit the reset button, try again, you know, like a speedrunner mentality. You had one shot and you did it when it counted. So that's nothing that you should be downplaying in this round.
No. I had to do my the best I've ever done to get to the final round.
What did you win in that tournament, by the way?
In 1992, Geostorm GSI.
That's hot.
I still own it. I still have it in my garage. I don't drive it as much because it doesn't get as good as gas mileage as my Prius. But
I probably wouldn't have driven it in 1992.
I just drive it. Heck, I drove that thing for years until I had to get another vehicle.
I hope that gets saved in the Video Game History Museum or something. Consider it before you get rid of it. It's worth more out of that notoriety.
If I donate it, if some gaming museum wants to put it in their museum, I can entertain an offer on that.
That's awesome. Let's go here. Next slide. 7. Hopefully this video will have. So next to me on my left is Mr. Tim Hanson. We were both finalists in 2015, and the first game we played in that championship was Splatoon. And I think you had, hopefully this video. All right, so this is what this guy did.
Blue with another hit there, flat on the wall, and right now Blue actually beating that one. Oh, the game was the orange team down.
Did you fit one too? Yeah. They got bored of you splatting people in a row?
So we were actually losing that match. Yeah, our team was actually losing that match at that time, and I decided to be cheap, and I spawn camped them. We had 1 roller on our team, they had 2, and we were just, it was 1-1 I think at that point, both sides of 1-1 game. And yeah, no, I just kind of stood there, got those 4 kills, and then it didn't show up, but coming down from the hill was their 2nd roller. And I managed to kill the entire team and another roller on his way down, which gave us enough time to make up the ground to go on to the next round.
Sadly, their presentation that year, they didn't decide to put the players' names on the screen, so everybody watching just kind of like, well, who did that? That was cool, I guess, but...
You can hear me woo.
You can hear you woo?
Yeah.
All right. So I'll do my quick little moment of glory here in slide 8. I'm on the, this was a Legend of Zelda race. Let's go to 355. That's slide 9. Very organized. It's gonna load. videos because it's YouTube.
The legend of Zelda is the original test of courage, power, and wisdom in the face of danger.
So at this moment, the goal was to get to the end of level 1.
I gotta check up on here. You shot down.
I'm in the upper left-hand corner. I'm behind this point. But the other two players are struggling.
The runner is moving through. He's picked up the clock to stop the stealth.
Was this the issue?
Yes, this is the underground. Only the winner got to advance this point. So right here in this point, the next room.
TMR.
Oh man, TMR just got the.
TMR's about to die here. And they're all paying attention to him die, but meanwhile, I go swipe through without even stopping to save my butt.
That's hard.
And then Mr. Barney
Get back in there.
at the top right. And top left, nothing. There's one heart left. I realized I had a chance. I'm This still my team. Got the win. And then there I am. Just a lot before me. Wow. To do. But after that, I lost. So that was my one little 15 seconds of glory there. But let's see the next guy on our list. That would be Jeff, who was a Mario Kart master. Somebody hand the mic to him. The qualifying game in last year's NWC was Mario Kart. So this is like the first time Mario Kart was like has there ever been like a national championship for that game in all these years? Like Smash is huge.
I don't believe so. Like Mario Kart Wii kind of had its own internet community, but it never became a huge nationally known thing like Smash became. But like there's always that small community there. Like I was part of that small community, so like I always played a lot of Mario Kart. And then last August they had qualifiers playing Mario Kart 7. So okay, I didn't play a whole lot of Mario Kart 7, but like I had played a lot of Mario Kart, so I went out to qualifiers and ended up making it.
Was there a lot of talk on these message boards about what you were doing with that sort of thing? Like,
oh yeah,
like a lot of smack talk and trading chips where people trying to hide things, or
everyone for the most part was pretty open with how things were. So I won the qualifier in Chicago, which was in the second weekend, I believe. So as these weekends went on, scores kept on getting better and better because people had more time to practice. So
didn't one guy get second place in one city and flew to Dallas to qualify the next week because he was so determined to make it?
Yeah, he's insane. I believe his username is SuperFX. He's like a multiple world record holder in like a bunch of Mario Kart time trial games, and basically his score that got second place at that first qualifier which I believe was in Los Angeles, would have been first place at any other qualifier. So like at that point, like he knew he could make it if he went to another one, so he flew out to Dallas and just made it back.
So now that you've done your humility part, how did you finish in the finals in 2017? And where did you finish in the finals?
We actually both made it to the same round. We got as close to making the top 3 as we possibly could. So the last elimination rounds before the top 3 was Mario Party 2. I don't know if anyone was watching that last year, but basically there were 3 mini games, and we played each mini game 3 times, and whoever had the most wins after that made the top 3. I got second place in that, I believe, so technically 4th place overall, but I just missed the medal, which I was kind of salty about.
Neo got in over that one, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, and ended up winning the whole thing.
Including beating the previous champ, John. Here's a clip of you guys in Platoon 2, if I can find the area here. 16 mark.
1,200 for a Tetris here, Audrey.
Oh,
So
that's poor kids. Having to play. They made the kids play Tetris, and they never played Game Boy Tetris before, and that was a travesty. And I feel really bad for them because I was really excited to let the kids play again because they're kids got kids. And I probably don't want to talk about ARMS too much. You had a mishap with ARMS.
Yeah, there was a pretty interesting story about ARMS. So I'm actually pretty good at ARMS. I spent a few months practicing it. After I qualified this, I grinded it pretty hard, but I never learned the motion controls. I never even touched it because I thought I'd be able to use a controller. And when I got there, I had used the motion controls. I found out later on after the fact that if I would have held both Joy-Cons right next to each other, I could have tricked it into using button controls. Which is like exactly what John Wonder did.
Well, you see the mesh ring around the outside of the tower.
So I also remember, well, we had a bit of a mishap with Splatoon because we were forced to use motion controls, and we
they did learn the lesson that.
But you did do Chicago proud, and I was rooting for you because I was live because I wanted to support you, and Abe, who was the under 12 competitor, he kind of choked in his first run, but he came back and finished strong for what he did.
The audience loved him too.
Oh yeah, we chanted for him because it could have turned dark. I thought it was like a New York crowd; they would have turned like making fun of him, but it was a pretty positive experience. But here's you guys in your final match in Splatoon under Jeff B with the
3-1 advantage on the field for green.
this is sudden death basically the winner gets to advance.
Very nice.
Now they learn their lesson and show the player names this time.
Water at that point. 90-55, anybody's match at this point. And we're back here. Orange team on top of the tower trying to make their first final push of this match. You see Jeff B trying to do everything he can to help clear out some of the green competitors. Oh, here comes Orange threatening the lead here, Ashley.
This is getting serious.
So the little counter at the top, they're trying to push it all the way to the end. So it's virtually tied at this point.
Look at that inkjet action.
And Orange takes the lead, 55-40, using those specials. Cole has the sting right ready.
Have you watched this since then?
Gets flipped by that roller. We see Marco doing work with that roller like he did last time. Here comes the green team.
It was actually really interesting like, how it ended up working out.
So was that?
Like on my team, like it ended up being like all the older guys, like all the 20-somethings, and like on the other team, it ended up being like all the like.
There were 4 kids. It wasn't
13 to 16-year-olds. Yeah, like it was completely random. Like it was based on like first place, third place, fifth place, and I like all those people within the Mario Kart round were on one team, and all those people were on the other team. And it just so happened that like it was the old people versus young people. So
everybody was thinking like this is gonna be slaughter. Like the guys are gonna. No, the kids came back and won, and
they were really good.
I'm gonna show they pushed it to overtime here. I'll show that part at the very end, and you guys just barely pulled it out here. You don't want to watch a whole 5-minute Splatoon match.
Critical spot with the East. 4-1 on the field. Let's gear up.
So you're ahead, but what the rule is that
I mean, all they have to do is
team
just stay
behind
on that tower. They've got
has
to
possession,
play
they can keep it one last time even if time runs out.
Hold on to everything, folks, because we're going to be headed to overtime, it looks like. Green,
So they're counting down from 50.
4-2 advantage on the field for green.
I look like they're going to take that chip. They're going to come forward. Keep up in the corner.
Crowd's going crazy.
And that was me right at the very end. They got that double kill.
Able to hold them off at the tail end, and Ashley. Shots of jubilation.
What is a 2015 champion who almost pulled off the repeat there?
So yeah, I was probably one of the worst players at Splatoon on the stage, or like I guess least experienced. Like I think everyone else on my team had like maximum rank on Splatoon, and I was like halfway there maybe. So I was just really aggressive, kind of marching in there, and like it ended up working out. Even though I don't think Twitch chat liked me very much.
Whatever. They didn't like anybody. All right, so finally we have the Forgotten Tournament, because people kind of remember, the Nintendo Championships, the Campus Challenge, the Power Fest, the Blockbuster Championships, and then when the Wii was on top of the world in 2010, Nintendo did a whole other tournament. It was like the biggest tournament of all of these, and here's one of the champions here, Mr. Zach Hendrix, but you go to the website, Nintendo doesn't even pretend that event even exists anymore.
The website was, can I see? Thank you. Oh, there we go. Hi. Okay, so the website, it was WiiGames2010.com, and it would you could look at the leaderboards, and I have an archived version connected to my Twitch, but you could check out the leaderboards. It was up all summer, but then after the finals ended, the website was open for another month. Then for 2 months, it would just direct you to Nintendo.com, and now today, it's a Filipino Bitcoin online casino. So that's a thing.
Load it up on archive.org.
Yep, that's exactly the Wayback Machine's the way to go. I wish I would have said, I have a bunch of the pages from the website saved now using the Wayback Machine, but you can't access. You can click the leaderboard, but it doesn't show anything anymore. So I wish I would have been able to save those going in as well, but it is what it is.
And it wasn't just lame old Wii Sports type stuff that people kind of thought were a fad. I mean, you guys had to do Mario Kart, you had to do New Super Mario Brothers, I believe, and what were some of the other?
So we had to do Wii Sports Resort, we had to do the bowling and the basketball. We Fit Hula Hoop, which there's actually strategies. There's strategies for Wii Fit Hula Hoop. That's what blew my mind. But then we had to do a coin battle in New Super Mario Bros. On 5-4, but it was you and your teammate working together to collect as many coins combined instead of against each other. And then it was, for the qualifiers, it was Mushroom Gorge on Mario Kart Wii. So thankfully, if you look at the scoring breakdown, Mario Kart Wii was ranked the highest with, or had the highest multiplier along with New Super Mario Bros. And Mario Kart Wii and Hula Hoop were the only games I played before going to the qualifiers, which were open for 5 weeks. So thankfully, I was able to get a good enough score in Mario Kart. I already had a couple world records at that point, and then I played Mario my whole life, so even though New Super Mario Bros. Wasn't something I played, I still was able to get a good enough score to keep us in second for Six Flags Great America. But it turned out the person who was in first used a glitch to finish the whole race in like 40 seconds compared to like quadruple what that length should be.
Mario Kart, really? What?
They let you do it?
No, they took that score away because that time was faster than an individual lap for anyone else, which then ended up putting me and Frank at first for Frank was my partner. That put us at first in the teen category at Six Flags, but overall, out of all the teen categories, we had the second highest score going into the finals. But it was insane.
What did you end up winning with this championship? Because Nintendo's like making money hand over fist. Everybody and their grandpa's buying a Wii.
So this competition was the most similar in format to the original Nintendo World Championships. Even,
right, same games.
Kind of. We got a 42-inch Panasonic TV, which at the original World Championships they got a 40-inch TV, a Panasonic TV. So I thought that was cool. We got a gold Wii Remote trophy, which is extremely heavy, and we were in USA Today. You might not think we were because no one's ever heard of it, but we were in USA Today and Nintendo Powers, and we got free Netflix for a year. Discs in the mail.
I didn't get to be in Nintendo Power.
And then we got an entertainment center with that. And originally we were all promised a cruise, but then they just gave it to the family category. And it was so torn because this was the best week of my life and I'm getting all these amazing prizes. And I have no way, shape, or form any capability to be bitter with everything I'm getting. But at the same time, they got a cruise. But
the 15 and 17 winners got zilch, nothing. It was kind of a promotional deal. Like you got a trip to LA or New York and that was it. I don't know if they're short on money or just think that millennials like to participate. Trophy.
Boo.
Yeah, I don't quite get it.
I want something I can
John
keep.
Numbers deserves kind of more than what he got.
Absolutely.
But I think the funny story is with your gold Wiimote trophy, there's a gold wrist strap too.
Which it's a little bit shorter than a normal wrist strap, which makes sense because otherwise it'd be hanging down like past the bottom of the trophy and that would look extremely weird. So it's like a child-sized wrist strap. The clasp works on it and everything. But yeah, that trophy, that's my pride and joy.
So this is kind of the forgotten tournament. I'm glad we got you into a public forum to, even if the few people here, and we'll get this on YouTube eventually and get the word out. But I guess I got this clip here that you wanted to show. We want to set it up.
So, like Chris is saying, this is kind of the forgotten tournament. I'm making a documentary about it because it's been 8 years and no one else is going to. And I go to the World Championships or other Nintendo events, and Chris is making an almanac. He's making an esports almanac. He knows competition from like 1987 with like 58 people and knows all their names and like crazy obscure competitions like that. But I show up and everyone always says, "Oh, I see your jacket says Wii finalist. What are you a finalist in?" And then I tell like the story of the Wii Games Summer 2010, and every single time, "Oh, I've never heard of that before. That's so cool." And I watch videos on YouTube and they'll go over the history of Nintendo's competitions, get to Power Fest 94, and then say, "And Nintendo took a break until 2015 where they decided to come back." I'm like, "No, they didn't. No, they didn't, guys." But so I'm making a documentary, and I'm launching the GoFundMe officially today. So this is the beginning of the GoFundMe trailer. This is like the epic part filmed on a white background. The rest isn't as harsh on the eyes, but that's actually live right now. I activated it before I came in here, but I'm making that because no one's gonna tell the story, and there's a lot of stories in there that need to be told. There was over 200,000 teams. But Nintendo's never released official numbers for any of their competitions. So was it 201,000? Was it 299,000? Some teams had 2 people, some teams had 4 people. So that could be anywhere between 400,000 and 1.2 million people participating. That's a huge range that, like, that's not it was about this many. I really don't know about how many it was because it could be hundreds of thousands apart. And even the original World Championships, they say they've never released official numbers. And before 2015, they showed a video where they said tens of thousands of players competed. But I talked to the guy who was running 2017's World Championship, and he started working at Nintendo 3 months after this, and he hadn't even heard of it. So I don't even know how accurate their numbers for the original World Championships are. So I've been doing my research every day for the last 8 years because I don't want this. I don't want this to. Yeah, I need some Filipino Bitcoin to get that website back. But so this is the beginning.
We'll play this video here and see what we got. We're all hitting the play button, we'll do nothing. There we go.
Oh no, I have such an epic soundtrack with that.
Well, there you are. They got like the mannequins in the back.
Okay, I can try and sync up the lips.
See it on the camera.
What is going on here? Okay, so it is on YouTube if you have access to YouTube.
Sure.
And then we can just pause it after transitions. Just because I want to show this video.
What's it called on what's your YouTube?
Wii Games Summer 2010 GoFundMe.
Riveting, isn't it?
Yep. Well, while he's looking that up, so I think there's a few reasons that it could have been forgotten. One, the original World Championships was the first big competition like that, and they gave out a cartridge. And that cartridge is extremely valuable, like Chris was talking about. Power Fest also has a cartridge. Boo! Okay.
Well,
that's all right.
Sorry about that.
Heartbroken. Long story short, gaming has been a staple of nerd culture since before Tennis for Two was even a concept. But now, esports are finally mainstream, and we're living in the beginning of gaming's golden age. Competitions appear on live TV, the first American esports stadium is officially under development, and just last year alone, gamers streamed billions of hours of gameplay online. Next line. All of that began with the original Nintendo World Championship in 1990. Now sure, there were other competitions beforehand, like the Space Invaders National Championship in 1980, a whole 10 years sooner, but nothing was this size or magnitude. Nintendo was riding off the coattails of the movie The Wizard, and I mean, they hired the people who did the opening ceremonies for the Olympics to set this up, for crying out loud. Page turn. Since then, Nintendo has hosted 5 other events. It's really sick, so I'll get to that in a second. Some better known, like the Nintendo World Championships 2015 and 2017, and some only known to hardcore gaming historians like the Campus Challenge 1991 and 92, or Power Fest 94, aka the Nintendo World Championships 2. I'm going slower than the video, so I gotta speed it up. But what if I told you there weren't just 6 Nintendo competitions? What if there was a missing chapter, not just from Nintendo's history, but the history of esports itself? What if this missing 7th competition was potentially bigger, and I do like a hand thing, but I'm holding a mic, it's potentially bigger than all of the others combined and multiplied? What if I told you the name of that competition was the Wii Games Summer 2010. Well, you probably wouldn't believe me because you could just go on Google and type in Wii Games Summer 2010, and the results would be Wii Games that came out in the summer of 2010. But I promise you, if you keep scrolling, I hear my epic music, so I'm kind of confused. But I promise you, if you keep scrolling, eventually you'll get to articles and videos about the competition. And then that's the part where I say I need your help. I'm doing a GoFundMe. And how do I know this? How can you trust me?
Because my name is Zach Hendrix, and I am one of the winners of the biggest Nintendo competition that you've never heard of.
Wow, I timed that great. He wasn't actually talking. Okay, we can pause it. That was the white part was the only thing I was going to show. But yeah, so that's live now. The whole video's on there. Even if you don't want to give to the GoFundMe, it still spreads awareness, and I worked pretty hard on it. It's 12 minutes because I've got to get into the history of that and the history of Nintendo's scoring and whatnot, and why I think this is important, what happened. But if you would like to watch that, you can just go on YouTube or go to the GoFundMe, and there will be the video if you're on YouTube. Duh. But and yeah, I think that's it. Got a little flustered because I thought I was going to be sitting here smiling and listening. But
no, that's
right.
good info. I appreciate it. Yeah. Anybody up here have any other stories you want to share, and then we'll open up to the audience? No?
Hang on.
Hey, there we go.
Boom.
There was one other. There's an eighth one. The Star Fox competition?
Yeah, there's Star Fox. There was the, what's that? Star Fox Super Weekend, but but there was never, that was like stores only, and then they just drew a winner among the winners and gave a prize. There was no final competition. Not like the Blockbuster 2 was sanctioned by Nintendo because they let them use the Donkey Kong Country competition cards. So
3 of those Star Fox Weekend cartridges still exist?
oh, there's a bunch. They sold them through Nintendo Power.
But isn't there like a finals cartridge or something like that? Or am I thinking?
Might be, but I don't know. Yeah.
They had the Star Fox competition card here at Midwest Gaming Classic in previous years. You might run across it in one of the other rooms. I know they got a Powerfest Night 4 cart going in the neighboring room from here. My video didn't play audio, so you can watch it by going to tiny.cc/PWCI. You have to scroll past the wrestling stuff to get to the video game playlist. It's there. And I'm also the Galloping Ghost Hardcore Champion. I will be defending this belt in the Galloping Ghost arcade room after this panel and the training card, I guess we're going to an autograph session after
we'll be
this.
upstairs when we're out.
After that's done, I'll be defending this belt against anybody in this building.
Are chairs legal?
No.
Okay.
On it. Oh, unless the video game features chairs you can throw at somebody.
Cool. Any other stories up here before we get to the audience?
I think that really quick. Yeah, like I was just reminded about this when like Jack mentioned that like his trophy had the wrist strap on it. Like I think and like you guys can say something like about 2015, but Nintendo was really serious about their wrist straps. Like if there's an option to wear like you have to wear that wrist strap. If not, like I forget which game it was. It might have been ARMS. We might have had the wrist straps for the Joy-Cons. I forget, but like I wasn't wearing the wrist straps, and like someone ran up to me and put that wrist strap on.
Wow.
Okay. So
you're a role model, son. You got to be showing those kids how to properly play.
So I'm not a safe video game player. So.
Yeah, let fly and break the screen.
Yeah, just a little extra story.
Any questions from the audience? That guy.
What are your favorite stories about like the qualifying trek itself? Because I know for both you guys and both of you, it was a multi-hour trek just to get to the qualifying place the first time around.
That's pretty good because I want to hear what I definitely want to hear Steve's thing because I went to a college tour. I'll share mine real quick because I went to a Best Buy in Schaumburg, and Best Buy turns their parking lot lights off after midnight. So it was a dark parking lot. It started to rain. We didn't bring a tent. It was cold. It was kind of ugly and dark. But everybody was kind of a Woodstock sort of situation where everybody's happy to be there and kind of nervous because we weren't sure how it was going to turn out. I mean, people were going to be there, and the 1994 winner was there, and some other people who had done extremely well were there. And, you know, it turned out that I won at the end of the day, and it was crazy whirlwind after that. But the setting itself was kind of ugly, and the result was great. But we'll pass it down and see what everybody else has to say. Let's definitely hear Steve's, because it was a college thing, so.
It was a college thing. I was going to Southern Illinois University in Carbondale, and the gaming Nintendo made SIUC a stop under 55 college tour. I did mention earlier there was a Sega Genesis tournament the previous year, which I didn't win. I got money in a console, which was more than enough.
Okay.
But the Nintendo tournament at SIUC, yeah, they had the gaming trucks there, and yes, you played until you got the top 12 for your either man or woman. Top 12 men, top 12 women had their playoff, and then the last man and the last woman face off one-on-one, and then the winner went to Disney World, which was me.
I looked at that list of finalists you have. There were a lot of women who won that. That wasn't, you know, that wasn't an unfair competition. Dr. Mario being the prime game, there were a fair amount of women in that finals. I find that pretty interesting, especially 1991. Let's see. Any other? Jeff kind of did the 17, and what? I guess you talked about the Six Flags. So
yeah.
I guess we'll go next. Any other questions out there? Wait in the back.
Upcoming championship.
I think those are invitational only. The upcoming championships for Splatoon and
Smash is invitational, and didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
But Smash is invitational, where Splatoon, thank you. Splatoon is an open tournament. It's actually April 21st is the beginning qualifiers, I believe, and that is going to be done online. And then once they get it down to the top 8, the 28th is going to be the semifinals, and then the winner will get to represent North America at E3. I have a team right now. We're practicing a tiny bit. We're going to be practicing a lot more because I had the documentary trailer, and then I decided to completely remake it. So the whole last week and a half, I've been filming and editing and doing that. But I don't know if anyone else is, but I'm going to be competing in the Splatoon championship, and it's single elimination for the first round. So there's like 182 teams right now, which really means if you win like 4 games, you're in the top 8. So it could feel like with single elimination, there's a lot of luck involved. So I definitely want to compete because, you know, why not? Nothing to lose. It's online. I don't have to drive anywhere. I'm practicing, and I'm going to be at E3 this year anyway, so I would love to get my plane ticket paid for and not have to be on someone's couch in my Airbnb. That was $17. Actually get a hotel from Nintendo. That'd be really nice. So I have a little bit to gain from it, so I figured why not?
You had a question?
Yeah, what are your favorite Nintendo games?
They asked us that when I won, and I said Super Mario Brothers 2, and everybody online gave me crap about that.
It's a great game.
Well animated. I liked the control mechanics because everything else was stiff up to that game, and best graphics up to that time. So that's my favorite of the time. And I love Dr. Mario, like puzzle game wise. I love puzzle games, and that was like the first competitive against another person type game. And I run a Dr. Mario Championship in Pittsburgh every year. Every Play FX Festival, so if you want to take the trip and play some pinball out there, come play Dr. Mario 2. What's yours?
It has to be a tie between Super Mario Bros. 3 and the original Legend of Zelda.
Be a tie for me right now between Breath of the Wild, because I just think that's the greatest game I've ever played in my life, which is crazy because I've never been a big Zelda fan. I've liked the games, but I haven't actually been too big into it. Breath of the Wild, Mario Galaxy, and then Super Mario World, because that was what I grew up playing. So that was my favorite.
Favorite video game? That's hard because I have a very large game collection now. I don't have as much time to play games as I used to.
Nintendo only.
Oh, Nintendo only.
Yes.
Otherwise, I would have said Kingdom Hearts.
I didn't really score chase back in the day, and I'm doing the score chasing now with Galvin Ghost, and I can't narrow it down to one. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna play the Mario games once in a while, Donkey Kongs, of course. I can't narrow it down.
Good answer. Put you in there, Jeffs.
My favorite party trick is saying all the lines in Star Fox 64. It's like I've played that game so many times. I think the game I've played the most would most likely be Mario Kart Wii, but I think my favorite game is Star Fox 64. So, any other questions?
How many hours a week did you typically have to spend practicing prior to the event?
For 15, it was great because it was a 6-minute challenge. And when I'm a dad, 6-minute challenges are fantastic. I don't have to play it for hours on end. I can learn it and go. I played that thing at my lunch break. I played it, so I couldn't say how many hours I did, but I was okay at the point. I was like a middle, and I kept playing after the tournament. Now I have the current record at 17 million for NWC Remix. So that's stupid Dr. Mario playing where you make these Rube Goldberg machines and have 14 viruses disappear in one move. It's not video game skill. It's just insanity, really.
It's memorization.
Well, it's not. It's because the patterns in 15 are different. In 91 it was the same, but in 15 it was different patterns every time.
You had random boards.
You're at random boards. So in fact, it's really kind of not fair if you have two players going at the same time, because one can get a terrible board with all the viruses on both sides, or you get a nice board where everything's at the bottom and you can build up your Rube Goldberg.
I was surprised there were no dip switches on the 2015 cartridge for the qualifiers.
No, there was not. How much? You're the master. How long did you practice?
So, I didn't mention this earlier. There was, like I think Zach was saying, there was this Mario Kart Wii glitch that got someone disqualified. In the Mario Kart 7 challenge, there was a glitch, but they were letting us do it. It wasn't as big of a glitch. Basically, you jumped over a wall, like into some lava, and it's kind of spawned you later in the track. So, basically practicing that for the most part, because they did not tell us that would be allowed, but then at the New York one, which was the week before mine, they were letting that happen, which meant you had to learn it pretty much, because that saves you like 5 seconds, and that's huge. So I spent the week before the qualifier just kind of grinding that, and I had just graduated college, so I was working part-time at the time while doing a job hunt, so I had time. So.
And then actually, to follow up, Jeff, because I went to the 2017 event, and I went to the 2015 event too, but I didn't own a 3DS, so I was just going in blind, so wasn't expecting anything there. But the last handheld system I owned before 2017 was a Game Boy Advance SP. So I found out they were doing 2017 and that it was going to be Mario Kart. So I bought a 2DS, and I always played Mario Kart Wii with motion controls, so that was extremely weird not being able, you could only do the motion controls in first person. So it was extremely weird. I had learning how to steer with my thumb, but I didn't know about the wall glitch until after the competition, so I was practicing probably for a week or so until after Chicago ended. So I drove up to Minnesota, which is actually where I met you, but I drove up to Minnesota, and I probably practiced all week for that, and I only owned the system for 2 weeks, but I think overall, out of all of the submitted fan scores, since Nintendo hasn't released anything official, overall I think I'm 52 for 2017, but I figured not bad for owning the system for 2 weeks.
I think other than John Numbers, everybody was in the Mario Kart community who made the finals, right?
Yeah, that's accurate.
All right, any other?
Props to our friend JB because he put together a document.
Yeah. We got 5 minutes, so we'll try to get a couple more in. I know there were a couple hands back there. Hi, guy in the glasses.
What was the
Strategy for Wii.
hula hoop?
What's the strategy for
Oh man, it's been so long. It's been so long.
Demonstrate.
So, all right, well, there's a chair here, so I'd have to stand on the table, and I think they don't want me doing that.
Nah,
So basically, you'd have to have like your feet as wide as possible, so they're at the edge, and then you move them in like an inch. And then you want to shift backwards and forwards and not really move side to side, but while you're moving your legs back and forward, you're shaking your hips side to side, and that somehow like just gets you like these crazy numbers.
I think that's the question today, so come see me.
Arms had to be out too. Something like that. For your demonstration.
Any other quick questions? You got about 2 minutes left? No?
Anybody?
That was fun. Thank you, guys. I think they're going to have us upstairs. We got some trading cards and some things to sign if you want to come say hi and have a blast. And
He's got a comment.
And by the way, we have an idea that they might end up having another Nintendo World Championship next year. I highly encourage you to check it out. I had never done anything like this before I went to that. Like, I met all these people because of it. So yeah, it's a really fun experience. So like, if they end up announcing it for next year, definitely see if there's one near you and go out to it.
yeah, come say hi to us. We'll probably be there. I'll make the drive to Chicago again. I'm all the way from Ohio, so. All right, we'll be up signing autographs, and then the kid who asked the hula hoop question, I have a poster for you, because that was a funny question, and we all signed it. So you can take that home with you, and thanks for coming, guys.
After we're done with the autographs, I'm going to defend this belt against anybody in the Galloping Ghost Arcade Room. It's just a couple doors down from here, so I want some challengers.